Welcome back to Crazy Ex Podcast. This time, Roger and I watched Season 1, Episode 4, I'm Going on a Date with Josh's Friend. It has an exclamation point, so it feels like I have to say it. Oh, they all have exclamation points.
You know what a guy loves to be referred to as? The other guy's friend.
Yep, that makes sense. All right, quick synopsis. Rebecca decides to make healthier choices, which leads to going on a date with Greg. When he teases her about her newfound veganism, and they have a real adult conversation, she ditches him and takes home another guy. After seeing the hookup leave her house, Greg confronts Rebecca, and she realizes that she's made the unhealthiest choice of all. Meanwhile, Josh asks for Rebecca's help to get his dream job at Aloha Tech Center. She sort of ruins his application, but when she finds out he didn't get the job, she marches down there and convinces the boss to hire Josh. Roger, what did you think of this episode?
You know, it was fun. There's some issues, but it was a fun episode. There's some issues here.
Yeah, I could feel that this episode was going to be a disaster, like, the moment that it started.
Yep.
Just from the title.
Yep.
And then the whole healthier choices thing, I was like, oh no, this is going in a bad direction.
When we started this podcast, I think one of my early questions was, is Rebecca a good person? No. No right now.
Yeah, definitely no right now. Definitely no. Yeah, this is I wish that I could tell you that this is Rebecca's low point.
It's not. Oh, I know this is going to get worse.
I don't think that you can even imagine how bad it's going to get.
You know, considering this is a woman who quit her job and moved across the country on a whim to try to steal another girl's boy, I kind of can.
Okay.
I have a feeling I know where this is going. Good things out of it. The skating. What the hell? What the hell's up with the skating?
I'm not sure. It sounded like she was trying to learn so that it would be something that she and Josh could do together, but Paula's like, you just are hoping to run into him here. And then you can be like, I skate too. You skate?
Did we know that Josh skates?
I don't think we did know that.
Yeah.
But apparently Rebecca does.
He gives off surfer boy vibes, so I could see skating be a
But
thing.
they live too far from the beach to go surfing every day.
About 2.5 hours?
2 hours, 4 in traffic.
You haven't heard that one in a while.
It's true, we haven't. We did get a lot more Heather in this episode, which...
Heather's great.
Always into more Heather.
Heather is the best thing about Rebecca. I'm going to say that unequivocally.
Yep. I also really love... So the episode starts with Heather giving a presentation to her psych class. I love the line, I'm sorry, Bonker Balls isn't in the DSM-5 yet. But I love how they always transition to the theme song. Like, it's like a question that the character is asking, and then the theme song explains it to them.
I also love that in the theme song, she always is defending, like, she does the thing that I think I get annoyed with that people do, where they'll be like, that's sexist. So it's like, stop deflecting that, like, yeah, it may have been used as a sexist term, but, like, it does describe you. You are a crazy ex-girlfriend. The overall colloquial use of it is not relevant to the fact that you are a crazy psycho who left your high-paying job for somebody else's boyfriend. And, like, the way that they transition out of Rebecca's presentation into that was, or not Rebecca, Heather's presentation was great. I feel like Heather had more character growth about other people than Rebecca did this entire season.
Definitely.
In one episode.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I've always been confused on shows, it's weird to me when you have a main character who's so unlikable. Maybe she's relatable to some people, but, like, it's weird to me when you have that character be so unlikable.
I think that she's relatable.
I mean, I don't, but I'm a man.
Yeah. I don't think that she's unlikable as you do.
I mean, I don't make as many excuses for bad women as you do traditionally.
Thanks, Roger. I mean, I do not deny the horrible mistakes that she makes in this episode, but there are also some things that even character related things, like the song "Sex with a Stranger" just like feels like every time you go on like a Tinder date, it's like this could happen.
There are parts of her that are relatable, but like her overall actions in general feel like if you had a friend doing this, you'd be like, "What are you doing?" Like, I can't imagine anyone not thinking that, like, this person's insane, I need that out of my life.
Or, like, I'm vegan now and also Buddhist and I exercise and drink
and I know
juice.
people like this.
That feels very relatable. Like that people do that. Like they're like, yesterday I ate donuts with bacon on them and today I'm doing this for the rest of my life.
But do you like any of those people who do that?
Yeah, I like some people. Consistently, no, but like they usually figure it out, kind of like she does in this episode.
Sure, but I guess my point is that, like, when you have people who consistently do that, you get sick of them.
Of course.
They're not likable. So if you do it, it's like a one-time, everyone goes through a phase, but like, if every other week you have a new shift in personality that's massive, it's like, oh God, grow up already.
I also think that, I watch a lot of shows that have unlikable characters, and part of the reason that I like them is because they're unlikable. Not
unlikable characters, because like, How I Met Your Mother, for example, would be the classic example of this, where like, Barney is extremely unlikable. I wouldn't argue, I would say he's not the main character, though.
Ted is also pretty unlikable.
I mean, you and I disagree, but I think you're harsher on men than you are on women. But most of the characters on that show are pretty unlikable.
Robin is also pretty unlikable, actually. And Lily, actually.
Marshall's the one who's likable.
Yeah, Marshall's very likable.
Marshall's a good guy.
Like, occasionally he does something wrong, and you're like, wow, Marshall really fucked up. Like, he's such a good person.
But it's every now and then. Like, for the most part, Marshall's the good one, and the rest of them are like Seinfeld. They're all kind of unlikable. They're all kind of unlikable.
They don't. I mean, that's the point of
Seinfeld, it is. It's a Larry David comedy. Yeah. But it's very rare that, like, I'm trying to think of a show where, like, the main character themselves is unlikable. The cast around them is, like, relatively likable. Like, the closest I can think of is, like, Frasier. Like, Frasier's elitism is unlikable, but, like, he's genuinely a good guy.
Yeah.
He's just an elitist prick.
Well, I hope that this show will convince you that Rebecca is not as unlikable as you think she is.
How long does it take us to get over Josh?
A while.
Good luck.
A while, for sure.
Well, and I think the more sad part is that when she is being a normal human being, like, her doing a good thing for Josh, not trying to steal him away, is likable. Like, she's actually trying to help him get that job.
She is, but I also think the first time I actually think she's trying to help him get the job.
Yeah.
When she goes back down there,
totally
she has
herself.
wounded pride.
Yeah. She is offended, but the first time that she initially does it, she's actually just trying to be a good friend.
He asked if I went to Harvard, like in a bad way. What other way is there?
Also, how self-centered do you have to be to write an essay and not talk about any of the things that you know your friend... Like, I would not write an essay for you that focused entirely on football.
Or, like, just, like... I mean, she makes a good point when she's, like, back at Aloha Tech, and she's like, I don't know anything about life. Because, like, it didn't even occur to her to write about the thing that the job was about.
Or about him.
Yeah.
About him. Even if she wrote stuff about him that had nothing to do with the job, at least it's about him. Even when she's trying to be a good friend, she's a terrible friend. That's all common things. She's a bad friend. She's a bad friend to Paula. She's a bad friend to Josh. She's a bad friend to, what is his girlfriend's name?
Valencia.
She's a bad friend to Valencia.
Yeah, but apparently Heather wants to be her friend now.
Yeah. And she's a bad friend to Greg.
Yeah, she's a really bad friend to Greg.
So my initial question, again, is she a good person?
Right now, nope.
Yeah.
She's also just really weird, which Greg calls out in that song.
But it's funny, at one point you see the weirdness, like, vibe. It's like they were on the same frequency.
Oh, yeah, like, they were having a good time on that date.
Yeah, which, let me tell you, oh my God, a taco festival. Oh my God.
I've been to a taco festival, Roger.
I'm sorry, did you go to a taco festival while we've known each other and you did not invite me?
We barely knew each other at the time, but yes. The most embarrassing thing about the taco festival was it was a 5K, and at the end of the 5K there was a taco festival, and I didn't do the 5K, I just went to the taco festival. And I was trying to buy alcohol, and they were like, oh, show me your running credentials, you get a discount. And I was like, I didn't do the 5K, I just want the alcohol and the tacos. And the lady was like, you didn't do the 5K? And I was like, don't judge me, taco lady. Give me the fucking tacos.
Yeah, no, I don't want to run 5 kilometers. That's awful.
I want to eat tacos and drink margaritas. Damn it.
Okay, I forgive you for that because I thought like you did this like in the last 2 years. And
No, it was in like 2014.
So 2 years. We'd known each other for 2 years.
Yeah, I guess we had known each other for quite some time. I'm so sorry that I didn't invite you to the taco festival. We'll go to another taco festival, Roger.
Okay. The blood is actually from the hole in my heart that you just created. Just want you to know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Rebecca studying or
Heather
being studied by Heather would have been a fascinating like multiple episode plot.
It has been in multiple episodes. 2 at least.
I think it's just 2.
Okay.
Because we only met Heather last episode.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But like it could have been a fun like 4, 5, because I thought they were going to make a play on the song thing. Like I really thought they were going to do a thing where Heather's like, no one can hear, or like we can all hear you singing. Like I thought there was going to be some like, because I often ask, is this real or not? Like the scene in the porta potty, I have no idea if that was real or not. Was she really singing?
I think she might have just been talking to herself in the mirror.
But we hear her singing.
Yes. Well, we also, there's an interesting thing about that, because when they're arguing at the taco festival, she's like, in your whole, like, settle for me vibe. And Greg's like, well, that's not quite how I remember what I said. Which is kind of an interesting thought, because, like, obviously, I mean, not obviously, but the songs are Rebecca's interpretation of conversations. Yeah. It's like how she processes information. Yeah. So how she heard it was settle for me. And I'm sure, based on Greg's behavior, that there was some degree of that happening. But he also surely didn't say it quite so directly.
I don't know. I think he kind of said something to the effect of, like, I know I'm not Josh, but...
Yeah, but he didn't say, settle for me? Like the word, settle for me? I don't know. I guess
if I say, I'm not the thing you really want, but have this instead, is that not the definition of, say, settle for this instead?
I guess that's true.
Like, you really want ice cream. I don't have ice cream. How about yogurt? Can you settle for yogurt? Like that, I don't know. I think she's right on that one.
So I still like you, and I know I shouldn't. You're not nice to me, and you're weird.
Greg makes me sad. As a man, I feel like I want to apologize to all women who are like, oh, why are there so many weak men out there? And I'm like, it's not that bad. And then I see someone like Greg, and I'm like, never mind, my bad.
It's also not just Rebecca. Like, when the kid, Chris, I held up my end of the bargain like a man, is what Chris said.
You got called out by a 5th grader, bro.
And then later, when Josh comes in and complains about how he racks out his credit cards and doesn't have a job, Greg's like, oh, I could try to get you a job here.
Oh, God, I've not completely given up. It's one of my top lines.
And Greg is just like, woof.
You know what Greg's response reminded me of? Whenever you say thanks for that, that was Greg's response right there. Like, thanks, man. He's just like, thanks, but also, hasn't he really given up?
Yeah. I mean, we don't know very much about Greg, actually, at this point, but we will.
When he describes his job, he never describes it with
he
Josh,
definitely doesn't like working there.
Josh looks thrilled to be working at Aloha Tech Center. I would not say Greg looks thrilled to be working at the kids' sports bar, which I'm not even sure how you mix those two.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's a sports bar where parents can go while the kids are playing Little League.
But kids are in there.
Right, but kids can also come in for their pizza parties after the Little League with their drunk parents.
But they're also serving alcohol.
Yep.
I'm so confused.
I don't think they serve the alcohol to the children, but yeah.
Maybe they should. I bet Little League would be so much fun.
Chris was sitting at the bar.
I know.
Which, in like there's a lot of places that are like bars / restaurants, but usually your kids are not allowed to sit at the actual bar.
I mean, I will say this seems like a place where the rules are a little bit more lax. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's just one of those
Oh yes, because California is known for its lax rules.
West Covina, probably. Long Beach, not so much. Population's 100,000. I think we saw on that sign. 108,000.
105. Yeah.
105. Yeah.
It's Everett.
That's how much Everett has?
I think so. When I was a kid, it was 80 something, but I think it's closer to 100.
Huh, all right. This commercial.
The commercial. Yep. She always questions her choices when she's reading the butter commercials.
Why is this commercial so meaningful to everyone?
I think because it it speaks to, like, their true problems.
But why?
The butter is flying off the shelves, Roger.
I know! I'm just... Because even Josh has that same, like, moment of just, like, an epiphany, essentially, when you're just like, I don't... Why? Is it like a magical holdover then?
I think that something that you need to remember is that most people are not as self-assured as you are.
Sure. I'd like to believe that people have enough self-assuredness not to be inspired by butter commercials.
Hey, sometimes your butter is...
I also think you think I have a level of self-assuredness that is unreasonable, and I think you just are wrong on that.
Oh, well, that's nice to hear.
Like, I think a lot more people have self-assuredness close to my tier. You know how I always think you're way too smart, and you think that, like, most people in your tier of intelligence, and I'm smarter than I think I am? This is my version of that for you.
I see.
Does that make sense now?
One of my favorite parts about how the butter commercial makes Rebecca question her choices is that Rebecca decided to be a vegan, and she's taking... advice from a butter commercial.
She also, I love that in the statement about that, she literally says, so I stayed up all night and I'm making healthy choices. Right. And Paula just kind of has the like,
sure.
Here, play that sentence again. I'm making healthy choices. I stayed up all night.
We skipped over one of my favorite lines when they're at the skate park. Paula's trying to convince Rebecca not to answer her mother's phone call, and her mother answered the call while she was getting a pap smear. Jesus Christ. But Rebecca says she's like a stalker I used to live inside of. It's a pretty good description of her mom.
One of my big dislikes is like her mom is just the worst.
Yeah, she's really awful.
Maybe this is the part where I will fully admit I'm weird. I just wouldn't deal with that. Just don't answer the phone. Like, she's not financially dependent upon her. She obviously does not like this woman. They don't have a good relationship. Stop talking to her.
I think that that's always your solution. I also think...
Because it's the solution!
She's also, like, her mother is, like, the Jewish mother, like, pinnacle.
Sure.
And, like, Jewish guilt is a real thing.
Look, I'm not a cancer expert, but I do know enough about the cancer to know that if it's in your body, you know what you do to solve the problem? You cut that bitch out. You don't keep it around and let it fester and spread to other parts of your body, because that ends up being pretty fatal.
Well, maybe she's not such a heinous bitch after all, Roger.
That's a song, isn't it?
It is a song.
Based on the data we have now, would you lean into the heinous bitch yes or heinous bitch no?
Heinous bitch yes.
So, would your advice to be cut her out of your life or keep her in your life?
I don't think it's quite that cut and dry.
Well, that's the question being posed to you. So, given those two choices, which one would you say is a better move?
Knowing that it's your mother?
Yeah, knowing that it's your mother who is a cancer and brings you nothing but sadness.
Jesus. I just don't think it's that black and white, Roger. It doesn't work like that.
I think it does. That's why it's always my solution, because I just don't want to keep the cancer in my life. Speaking of cancer, Josh, why does he have to work at a radiology facility?
Well, it's his dad's radiology facility.
Sure, but why does he have to work there?
It seems like he can't get a job anywhere else. It doesn't seem like he tried to get a job anywhere else except for a law tech.
And why is he qualified to work there?
I don't think that he, like, he's not like a radiology tech. He's like the person that, like, escorts people to their rooms and, like, cleans the tables. Like, I think that he's qualified to work there. I don't think it pays very much. He's certainly not qualified to do what his dad does.
Well, didn't they also say you know what the results mean?
Could you not see the giant cancerous tumor in that x-ray?
I didn't look. I honestly was taking
There was a huge tumor in that x-ray. Well, like, I don't know why that guy couldn't see it. It was, like, normal lung, really fucked up lung.
But, I mean, maybe that lung isn't so bad. Maybe you just give it a chance, and it'll get better over time.
That's how cancer works, for sure.
That's how ridiculous it sounds to me. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it also doesn't look like he tried to go anywhere else.
He doesn't.
How dumb is Josh?
Josh is pretty dumb. I think that Josh is very dumb. Some other people think that Josh is only kind of dumb. I think there's a lot of, like, Josh has a lot of redeeming qualities. Like, I'm not trying to say, but he's pretty dumb.
So, let me ask, though, because you think a B- is dumb, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if he's a B-, he's not really dumb. He's just average. or a little bit above average.
Is Josh a B-?
I don't know, but I think your standard of intelligence may be unreasonable.
I think Josh is a D.
That's dumb.
Although he's a little smarter than we get him credit for, because it seems like he maybe graduated from this college where he never went to class. So if he can get a D without going to class, maybe he's smarter than we think.
He also then referred to somebody I've never heard of as Bruce Lee's daughter.
Harper Lee.
Yeah.
Harper Lee wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, which Rebecca referenced in her essay for some reason.
If he's a D, yeah. So I guess that was really my question. Is he dumb on the Chelsea scale or the rest of us scale?
I think he's dumb on the everybody scale.
Okay.
Well, you're asking me if he's dumb, so you obviously think he's dumb.
Well, I'm not sure because they've kind of portrayed him as dumb, but then sometimes he doesn't seem that dumb. He seems to lack ambition.
Yeah, that's definitely true also. Yeah. Which is, I feel like oftentimes, and we'll see more of this later, but like Valencia is kind of placed as the like girlfriend who wants more and like pushing him to have ambition. They're like, why you gotta do that? And it's like, yeah, like we don't need to be all like, be a lawyer, Josh. But also, like, get a job, Josh.
Are you saying don't be a lawyer?
Don't be a lawyer. I also love when, I think his name is Alex, the boss. Pillboy. When Pillboy.
Pillboy! Good Place reference for those of you who have not watched that show. He is in that show. We love that show.
It's great. When he's, like, reading the essay and he's like, maybe you should go work at, like, a library. And Josh just gets this horrified face and he goes, no.
At the same time that he made that face, I made the same face. Like, that's my hell. Like, my bad place is working at a library.
Working at a library would be so amazing. I just want to shelve books at a library and listen to podcasts all day and have no responsibility. Maybe I want to be Josh. Maybe I should work at Aloha Tech.
I would defenestrate myself before working at a library. Nothing against books. Love people who love books. Just, I don't. It'd be like you working at, like, Buffalo Wild Wings. And to talk about sports with drunk people all day.
Yeah. We also... So we kind of skipped over Rebecca's Tinder date. And the song Sex with a Stranger.
I'll be honest. I didn't care for that song. I did look up, it was parodying kind of Ciara, Beyonce type music. Yes. It just missed the mark. I don't think it was terrible, but it kind of, not in the same...
Certainly not one of my favorite songs, but...
Yeah, like I had the same feeling I had with I Have Friends. I was like, this isn't like terrible. I see what they're going for. I just didn't really care. The costuming was funny to me. Like I thought the like ridiculous tiger suit and
her like the ridiculous like shapes she's making with her body in the video.
She would like have her like sometimes she's like in scorpion poses and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
We were talking earlier about like how relatable the like feeling of like is this person I'm on a date with going to murder me? It also like in the song she says, why don't we just call each other baby? It will be simpler because they like don't know each other's names. I don't think we know the name of the hipster that she eventually takes home from the taco festival.
Oh, the vegan guy.
I don't think he has a name. Baby. His name is Baby.
Baby.
His name is Baby.
You know, okay, we referenced this in the past, and I said about the X-Men 2 scene, the famous one where Rebecca Romijn is like, maybe you should not trust a woman who's this attractive being that aggressive to you.
Aggressively interested in you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is like another variation of that, like, hey, buddy, you should have known that this woman is crazy, that like the moment she walked in, she just tried to take you home. Aggressively interested in you. And you play Call of Duty. You have carpal tunnel from playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, that's not so great. I think that he's very attractive, though.
He's short. He's not that attractive.
I don't really care about short.
The rest. I mean, short compared to you.
If someone is shorter than me, that's like really short.
Yeah. But I mean, I think what we're saying is that society would not consider a man whose hands have gotten carpal tunnel from playing so much video games to be considerably attractive. I play a lot of video games and I don't have carpal tunnel. That means he's played probably twice as many video games as I played.
I also love that she tries to give him a compliment before she kicks him out of her house, and she says, like, I respect your commitment to your wrist tendons, and he just doesn't get it at all. And she's like,
I barely got it.
The balls that you play with.
Which, so I thought it was a jacking off joke. And then when she follows up with the balls that you play with, I was like, now I really think it's a jacking off joke.
Probably is.
It also, how they get away with some of the shit, I am blown away at. Blown away. And what
is that a gun? Oh, thank God, it's just your penis.
One of my top lines. That reminded me, there was, I want to say it was definitely Law & Order because Ice-T is in it. And there's an old Law & Order episode, and I think Tyra Banks guest stars, or like Naomi Campbell, or one of those supermodels from back in the day. And she gets shot at, and he jumps to like protect her, and he lands on her, and she's like, "Hey, can you get off me now? Your gun is poking me." And he apologizes and then gets up. And then as he's walking by, one of the officers goes, "You're not carrying a gun." It just like immediately goes from that, and he just looks and he walks off, and then it goes to like the credits. Or, it was the cut scene, but I was fucking dying. I kept thinking of that when she made that line. Like, you're not even carrying a weapon. It's like, huh. Thank God it's just your penis, by the way. That's the kind of line you do want to hear on a date.
Thank God it's just your penis. You don't want to hear, I'm trying to fight my base urges.
Fact. You would like more of the former, less of the latter. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Although it doesn't seem like it doesn't even seem like hipster was a good lay. You finished, right? And then she like clearly is lying, and then he goes, "You're welcome."
I'm not a sexpert, but much like I feel like when you go shopping, if you have to ask the price of something, you can't afford it. If you have to ask a woman, did she finish? I think you're safe to assume she did not.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a reasonable, expectation. And then he says, "You're welcome," with and then I did so normally I don't like cringe and awkward, but I thought that was pretty funny when he's like, "I'll call you." "No, that's okay." "Text you?" "Email you." "Facebook?" "Take a hint, dude. LinkedIn it is."
Oh, jeez.
Also, why was that the worst decision she's made? I will say I was a bit perplexed at that conclusion.
I mean, okay. I think there's a couple things.
Yeah.
She slept with someone she didn't even know their name, and she took them home while she was on a date. I actually think that she genuinely feels bad that she did that.
So it's that part. Because, this is no different than the bar guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think, impulsive choices in that case, too. I think she's like, this is, that's a bad choice just regardless. I mean, it doesn't have to be a bad choice, but in her case, I think impulsively just going home with someone is not a thing that Rebecca should be doing, especially because she moves across the country for guys that she's not dating.
I think, the comparison, Heather doing that is probably not a bad choice for her. She's fine. She's fine. She wants to get weird.
Yeah, she just, wants them to pound the bad feelings away. It's great. But I think that she... it's there's obviously some complexity here, but she was having a good time with Greg, and the fact that she ran away, she explicitly tells Greg, "I got freaked out by the fact that we were being adults, and that it felt real, so I had to leave." So I think she's sort of "Oh, I was mean to Greg. I took another guy home on a date, and I'm afraid of being an adult. These are all bad things."
Oh, great. Another main character with walls. Yay.
I don't think that Rebecca has walls. Definitely not in the same way that Emma has walls.
She definitely has emotional walls. "I'm afraid of being an adult." It's a wall.
That's true.
I can't handle being in an adult relationship, so I open up the date with, "Who's your favorite president?" Chelsea, who's your favorite president? There's only one correct answer to this.
Barack Obama?
I don't have a favorite president because they're presidents. I don't rank them in order of favorites.
Well, Rutherford B. Hayes, for obvious reasons. What does that even mean?
I don't know. I know a decent amount about history. I know nothing about that.
But they also both nerded out about that weird factory fire that sparked the labor movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was, like, really proud of Greg for just, like, calling her on that shit.
I liked their argument. That was probably
Yeah.
the most relatable part of it, is that, like, Now, I will say, if there was something... Because at first, I was like, oh, they seem perfect together. Then I saw that argument, I was like, oh, no, this is the part that they would never work. He's too sarcastic, and she's too soft. Like, she's not going to enjoy that. She can't handle being teased and mocked and made fun of, and she's a massive, crazy hypocrite.
Yeah, which he says.
That's exactly what he says. And he's not... Nothing he says is fundamentally wrong.
Yeah. Well, and I do think that he...
he's a bit mean about it.
He was a bit mean. He was teasing, but he was also being, like, very directly mean. And if he wanted to talk to her about the concerns that he has about her behavior, which they end up doing, is, like, that's a different thing. And, like, teasing is also a little different, but it was a lot. It was...
So there's, like, teasing where we're laughing, and then there's teasing where I'm laughing.
Yeah.
And he was making pointed attacks in a way that clearly made her uncomfortable. I mean, I think he's also resentful of the fact that, like, she's clearly in love with Josh and not him.
Yeah.
Like, he is the other guy in this date.
But then they also danced like idiots on their date, and it was cute.
Is that what they were doing?
Yeah, they were dancing.
Oh. Did not know that's what they were trying to do.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we move on to favorite moment?
A couple things. When she's about to take home Jason, I think his name is?
The Tinder guy.
The Tinder guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the butter commercial again, isn't it? That's what spawns her to not sleep with him at the end?
Well, she's clearly having...
She's hesitating.
the whole... Like, that's what the whole song is about. She's, like, doing the dishes, and she, like, goes downstairs.
Anything she can to avoid having
sex
with him.
But it's definitely the butter commercial that makes her finally be like, oh, nope, this is an unhealthy choice.
Yeah. Also, her IQ of 164? What the fuck?
Yeah, she's smart. She went to Harvard, Roger.
I wonder if she's almost like... I can't say that term anymore. You know how, like, there's a term that used to be called a savant, where you were great in one thing and terrible at the other? Like,
yeah.
So she's like almost like Sheldon Cooper, not to that extreme, but...
I mean, she definitely, like, admits that at Aloha Tech. Yeah. She's like, I don't know anything about life. I'm really smart. I wrote this essay that was beautiful, and I went to Harvard, and I have an IQ of 164, but I leave dates with another person that I didn't show up with.
Now, I will say I've certainly heard from both genders about people leaving with other people in dates that they didn't go with. That isn't that uncommon. I think it's more so the unhealthy, random, like, oh, we bonded over the fact that we both secretly aren't enjoying being vegan. Let's go have sex.
Yep. I'm surprised that she texted Greg, to be honest.
Me too. Me too. One line I want to touch on before we get to favorite moments. So she eats the cauliflower tacos, which you do not go to a taco festival to not eat the meat.
I mean, I would definitely get a cauliflower taco next to my meat taco.
Sure. If you want
I like cauliflower tacos a lot.
If you want to eat albino broccoli, you do you. That can't be the only thing you're eating, though. You're wasting a taco festival here. Sorry, vegetarians. Deal with it. But I do love his line of, oh, that is completely disgusting. And actually, I think cauliflower tacos are pretty good, but yeah, no, give me my meat. Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, I have 2 favorite moments.
Oh, I have one favorite moment by far.
Okay.
City Taco Festival.
The idea of a city taco festival.
I saw that and was immediately just like, yes.
You want the city you live in. I actually think that Bothell does have a taco festival, Roger.
I live in Bothell, by the way. Chelsea just revealed to everybody. Go ahead while we're looking this up.
Okay, I have 2. The first one, the second fight that Greg and Rebecca have at her house after he discovers that she slept with the hipster.
That's the one where he comes over?
Yep. And then she yells, I take advice from butter commercials. Like, she's like, I'm crazy. I take advice from butter commercials. It was great. And then we didn't talk about this, but the butter coda, the butter commercial coda of the man that writes the things for the butter commercial.
What is a coda?
Like, it's like the end of the episode,
like
but it's not related. Yes, it's like a separate thing, like a tag or whatever. so the boss of the butter company is like, the butter's flying off the shelves, but like, is everything okay? And the guy's like, my wife left me for a prostitute. I left my wife for a prostitute. Sorry. Which is a running gag, so pay attention.
That's amazing, by the way.
And I love the idea that the advice that Rebecca has been taking is from a broken, messy person also.
Yep. That's pretty good.
Favorite song?
Oh, this was easy. Settle for Me.
It's great. Greg's performance in that song is so good.
I mean, part of it was that I didn't like Sex with a Stranger, so pretty much all the other song had to be was not terrible. But then objectively, Settle for Me was hilarious. I liked the black and white touch. Mm-hmm. Very much remind me of, who's the Singing in the Rain guy?
Fred Astaire.
Fred Astaire. So I looked it up.
He's the other guy. Anyway, go ahead.
The dancing was inspired by Fred Astaire and somebody else, but then the song...
Ginger Rogers. Gene Kelly is the main Singing in the Rain guy.
Oh. But the song itself was based on somebody else. But it was that era of what you think of, tap dancing, old-timey music.
Yeah.
No, it was good.
Fred Astaire is not in Singing in the Rain. Maybe I'm just making that up. Anyway.
Also, I like that they reference it in, real life. Because, Settle for Me obviously happened in her head. But then she, says you have this whole Settle for Me vibe. And I'm like, is she talking about the song? And then she starts, I think, singing it again in the bathroom, which, I would never go to use a porta potty at a taco festival.
You can't monopolize the bathroom at a taco festival.
Also, foul, though.
Yeah,
no.
That's gross. Favorite line from a song?
Is that a gun? Oh, thank God it's just your penis.
Yeah, I have that one. I actually couldn't pick just one. I also really like from Settled for Me, if he's your broken condom, I'm plan B.
And this show was on the CW.
I know. Most ridiculous moment?
I have two.
I have one.
Go.
Rebecca taking the hipster home.
I have Rebecca Banks vegan guy.
Yeah.
That's...
it's everyone in the episode thinks it's ridiculous, even Rebecca.
Yeah, the vegan guy does not.
That's true. The vegan guy does not think it's ridiculous. Well, he got what he wanted. He finished.
You're welcome. Rebecca stays up all night to make healthy choices.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. It's good. Loser?
I have two.
I also have two.
Did they go on a date?
They did go on a date.
Did they sing a song together?
They did.
Yeah.
Rebecca and Greg lost this episode real bad.
I mean, Rebecca's fundamentally a bad person so far. I don't think she's likable. Obviously, you think she becomes likable. Based on what we've seen in 4 episodes, I don't feel like she's been very likable. And then Greg just looks such like a pathetic simp. Like, you feel bad for him because I understand why in the date you're like, oh, they're making a real, genuine, honest connection and there could be something here. And then ultimately it's like, sorry, man, I don't think she's that into you.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
I agree.
Because I don't think she would have done that if she was on a date with Josh.
I do think that Greg's final confrontation with Rebecca was kind of a step in the right direction for Greg, but he still lost big time.
I also I feel like if someone looked at me and said, you have a whole settle for me vibe.
You just would never recover from that.
Yeah. I don't know how I would feel dating someone who feels like I was trying to convince them to settle for me. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I do have a higher level of self-assurance than the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a hard time with Winter.
I didn't.
I only found one.
I chose Josh.
Same.
He got the job at his happy place.
Yeah.
And it's an assistant manager job too. It's like a not a shitty job.
He did. It's like he got it, but he didn't. It feels like Rumpel's victory, where he kind of backdoored his way into it.
I think if he hadn't actually asked for Rebecca's help and had written his own, he probably would have gotten the job. Because he would have talked about how much he likes to go to Aloha Tech Center and eat the poke and be nice to people and talk about 4K TVs.
So that's why I asked, is he dumb, though? Because he couldn't just do that.
Right.
So is he dumb?
Yeah, he's dumb. That doesn't mean he didn't win. He got what he wanted.
Oh, no, I'm not. I also picked him as a winner. I'm not saying that he didn't win. It was just more so that, like, it feels like a win by, like, default.
Yeah.
Paula was not in this episode very much.
No, she was not.
Which is fine.
She got to eat a s'mores donut and a bacon maple donut.
And they dipped it in milk.
Yeah.
That's the most anti-vegan meal I think I could imagine. And I couldn't think of anybody else who could. I don't think there was a single white feather.
I love how you call him White Feather.
What's his name?
Daryl.
What's his last name?
White Feather. Do you just go around calling all of your friends by their last name?
You know, it's funny. It's because in football, you often refer to people in their last name because there's too many. Like, Alex could be 5 different kids.
Sure.
But if I say Vega, that means a specific person typically.
Sure.
Yeah.
You doxing your football players?
No one knows who I just said. I've used 2 separate names, so no.
Sure.
And also, I mean, like, if I said Tom, does that mean anything to you?
Brady?
Bingo. But if I had said Brady, you knew exactly who I was talking. Also, you said that with a question, which is amazing. I'm proud of you for getting that reference.
Thank you.
Good job.
I know football players.
I know sports.
Sports ball.
One of these days, I want to do this test. Like, you have to answer football trivia, and I have to answer, like, whatever the thing is you know most about. Musicals?
Everything, Roger.
Not everything.
Smart.
Not everything, because we've done Midwestern cities. Where's Milwaukee?
It's in Wisconsin. Minnesota. It's in one of those.
Case and point. It was in Wisconsin.
Great.
What are you looking forward to next?
Well, the next episode is called Josh and I Are Good People, so I'm looking forward to some rationalizing. I think that's going to be excellent.
No! You're kidding me. The next episode is literally Josh and I Are Good People?
Uh-huh.
I promise, listeners, I did not say this with anticipation of the next title that I've been talking about how she's not a good person. That is amazing, and I'm very happy about
Roger,
this.
there's a song in the next episode called I'm a Good Person that Rebecca sings.
Yay. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
And I'm also really looking forward to the next episode being the Thanksgiving episode.
I give good parent?
Mm-hmm. For context, Roger has been hearing us talk about the songs forever, so he knows some of them.
Some of them I've heard you talk about. I've not listened to the song, but I know at least what it's contextually speaking about. I'm also curious to see what genres they continue to go into, because I kind of like that they anything seems to be on the table.
Oh, yeah.
You get Ciara song, there was a Katy Perry song, there was like a Tina Turner song. This one had that Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly.
Sometimes they do musicals.
Sometimes it's a musical. Sometimes it's a Saved by the Bell, 80s TV. So it's like, anything is in play. I actually think I like the music more than I like the plot most of the time. Like, half the time.
That's so funny, because you thought you weren't going to like the music, but you were maybe going to like the show.
Yeah, and it's been the opposite. Where it's like, I actually find because usually they're funny. Mm-hmm. Like, the videos are hilarious. I mean, I still laugh about Run with Scissors and, Face Your Fears being the most hopeful advice, but also worst advice you've ever heard in your entire life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, please be sure to join us next time when we watch Season 1, Episode 5, Josh and I Are Good People!
False!
Exclamation point.
But we will see you next time.